Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Digital Marketing Therapy Podcast. I'm your host, Sammy, and today we are talking about subscription models. Now, if you are like me, then you probably have at least 1 or 5 or 20 different subscriptions that you're belonging to, whether it be Netflix or a makeup bag or a fashion bag or something for your kids. All of the things, Amazon, right? Subscriptions are everywhere, and they are very much the name of the game right now in order to having stable income that is going to be reliable for you and help you maintain those fundraising goals. And I'm a big fan of nonprofits taking a subscription model approach and bringing it to their business and treating these nonprofit customers or nonprofit donors as if they are customers and making them feel special, bringing them in as VIPs, and just creating a whole fun experience for them. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. So for over 20 years, Paul Chambers has built, scaled, and sold multiple subscription-focused businesses, and today runs the largest conference and trade group focused on the DTC subscription space. An around-the-clock volunteer firefighter, husband, and father of 4, Paul's passion for helping others is a central part of his character. From launching a SaaS company at South by Southwest to building one of the biggest brands in the subscription box economy, Paul has a handle on every aspect of a subscription-focused business and exactly how they succeed and fail. I'm so thrilled to have Paul Chambers here. We have an amazing conversation, and you're going to want to stick around to the end because he's got an offer that we're going to be sharing with you. But just his take on why subscription models work, what types of things you can include in them, and ways to make your donors feel like they are the creme de la creme of your donors, whether they're giving you $5 a month or $100,000 a month. Wouldn't that be nice? I think you're going to have some great takeaways and some great ways to think about the way that you're processing your monthly donor program. So that's what we're going to talk about today. I'm excited to jump into it. But before we do, this episode is brought to you by our private Facebook community. We are so thrilled to have so many nonprofits as a part of our nonprofit online fundraising growth network on Facebook. We have great conversations throughout the week, hold each other accountable. I'm there to help you if you get unstuck. So I hope that you'll join me in this community of like-minded nonprofits. You can join us at facebook.com/groups/the first click. I hope you'll join us there. I look forward to it and getting to know more about your organization and how we can support you. You're listening to the Digital Marketing Therapy Podcast. I'm your host, Sammy Bedell-Mulhern, and each week I bring you tips from myself and other experts, as well as hot seats with small business owners and entrepreneurs to demystify digital marketing and get you on your way to generating more leads and growing your business. Hey, everybody, please join me in welcoming Paul Chambers to the podcast. Paul, thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I truly appreciate it.
Yes, and I say this about a lot because I have a lot of favorite topics, but subscription models is one of my favorite things to talk about with nonprofits and how impactful they can be at just, getting more people giving on a regular basis. And I know that you come from the subscription world, so I'm really excited about this conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. I am too, because, coincidentally, subscription is one of my favorite things to talk about.
I love it. Okay, so why don't you tell us a little bit about how you got into the subscription world and kind of your background with that?
Yeah, so it's funny. I got into direct to consumer subscription about 6 years ago when I helped launch a company called The Gentleman's Box. It was a monthly subscription for men with, we always say it could make any man a true gentleman with a monthly styled box of socks and ties and pocket squares to help you dress to impress and really, fit the part of being a true gentleman. And, we'd educate and inspire and do different things as well as part of it. It wasn't just making you look good, but it was look good, feel good, and be good was our slogan. And when I started to really reflect on it though, because that's, often my story of where I got into subscription, I've actually been in the overall subscription business for almost my entire career. I had a hosting company, a managed IT services company. And one of the things I always found is I loved like that residual revenue, which I'm sure we're going to dive into and talk about, because it's so predictable. It makes your life so much easier as a business and a nonprofit. And so, fast forward, we started Gentleman's Box in 2014. We actually just sold it last year to Cigar Club, found a happy home for it, because what happened along the way, we started the Subscription Trade Association, which is now the largest trade group for the direct-to-consumer subscription space, in addition to our conference called Sub Summit, which is the largest event in the world around D2C subscriptions. And we're so fortunate to be stewards of this space, helping companies learn and grow and get better around subscriptions. And today we have over 2,000 members. Pre-COVID, our conference had over 1,000 in-person attendees. And during COVID, our virtual conferences, a lot of them 2,000 to 3,000 attendees at most of our virtual events. So it's been a lot of fun.
Well, and the subscription world has exploded.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
So
you can subscribe to anything.
Right. Well, and I think so much so that we don't even really think about the subscriptions that we have as subscriptions, right? Like Netflix, or like, I think a lot of times when people first hear subscription, they think about things like the physical boxes that they might get, but they're everywhere.
Yeah. And there's a couple different ways when you look at like physical subscriptions, like subscription boxes. There's typically two schools of thought. There's the replenishment. So the Dollar Shave Clubs that are sending you razors you need every month. Amazon, you can subscribe and save to diapers for your kids. Birchbox and FabFitFun sending you beauty products and things to try that enhance your life. And then there's the discovery and delight side of things. And some of these cross paths too, like Birchbox and FabFitFun that I just mentioned, or replenishment. Yeah, they're also sending you things that you didn't know existed to try and introduce new stuff. Gentleman's Box was a discovery and delight. And then there's this third part of it that's almost kind of is the trifecta. If you can do replenishment, discovery, and delight, and the third part, which is access, giving people access or membership into areas as part of their subscription, that's another area. And if you can accomplish all three with your business or nonprofit, it really is a winning combo, because you keep people around that much longer. And that's the allure of subscription. It's not a one-off transaction. It's not, coming and making one donation and stepping away and maybe engaging with that nonprofit or that brand again. It's creating that relationship with that donor or that customer that lasts way longer than that singular transaction. So, you start to form that relationship. They start to see you more on a regular monthly or quarterly basis. And then you start to learn more about your customers. They start to learn more about you as an entity. And so it really strengthens that bond between the customer and the organization.
Yeah. Well, my daughter and I are both members of IPSY. So we get makeup boxes and we love it because we rarely get the same thing. So it's fun. So we trade within our household. But
that's so fun.
What's genius about what IPSY does in particular, and I'm not an affiliate, like I get nothing for saying anything about them. But what I love about what they do that I think is so genius, that I think is really applicable to the nonprofit space, is they create a community around their members, and then they give they have exclusives that you can purchase throughout the weeks and the months to add on. So they're tapping us over and over and over again for additional value add, but we're spending more money with them.
Yep. And that's part of that like access component of it that you're going to find into. We just did a subscription review, a live subscription review the other day of a company called Vinyl Me Please, which during the subscription review, I kept referring to as like the most polite company in the world because please is in their company name. But they had so many great things about what they were doing in their subscription. Not only were you able to subscribe to a cool new vinyl record on a monthly basis, but as a member, you also got access into limited edition presses that they're running or limited edition products that you could buy. And that's what IPSY is doing as well with you there, because you're a member, because you're part of their monthly subscription or quarterly subscription that they have, then you also get access to these really cool things. And that's a really great way for nonprofits to start to look at experiences around their donors.
Yes.
When we talk about how can nonprofits benefit from this, if you're a donor making a monthly donation and there could be tiers around that, the $10 to $25 is the gold tier and the 30 or whatever, to 100 is the platinum. And then you've got the space tier, whatever it may be, that will give you access to different experiences or different feedback of things that are happening out there with your dollars. There's so many different ways to look at it rather than just kind of looking in in a tunnel, saying, oh, do we need to ship a product to somebody, or do we need to supply something? Just, taking a step back and thinking about what do people really want to feel and do is a fun way to look at it.
Yeah. So I'm glad you're going there with this conversation, because I think the easy things that nonprofits think about when it comes to like a monthly donor program or a subscription model is, okay, well, I can send them a welcome box with some swag, and we can send them, we can do a phone call with our monthly donors, and we can do like a live Zoom and just do a Q&A. But what, I like thinking outside the box for sure and making it experiential. So what are some kind of maybe off the wall, unique things that you've seen in subscription boxes that might spark some unique thoughts on the nonprofit side?
Yeah, I think, so definitely, I think the go-to would be like shipping that box out to somebody. When you do, so take that, taking something like that and expanding on it and creating quote unquote golden ticket opportunities. We helped launch the Ellen DeGeneres box when she first started her subscription box, and she really wanted to, she did a big give back component to it, which was interesting. But she also did these golden ticket opportunities where if you found the golden ticket inside of your box, it gave you access to come to the show or go learn more about her nonprofit she was supporting, so on and so forth. And then actually too, taking something like that and finding a brand that you can partner with even as a nonprofit is a great way to look at, how can we spread our message even further and get some monthly residual revenue there. But, creating those experiences is a great way to expand on like a physical product or something that people are receiving on a monthly basis. Collectibles, right? We all love collectibles and getting something new. So whether it be, every quarter we're going to ship you a new pin. And by the way, I say quarterly quite often. I kind of always use the monthly or quarterly interchangeably in there, but quarterly is a lot easier to curate from a resources standpoint.
Yes.
If you're an organization that is, really, like a lot of nonprofits are very resource constrained. And so doing something on a monthly basis becomes a heavy burden at times. And so looking and considering a different model, whether it be bi-monthly or quarterly, can ease that stress, can ease that strain, and gives you more time to kind of process what's next. Anytime somebody's starting a subscription box, I always say, you got to plan the first 6 months out. Don't make one and say you'll be ready for the next one, right? Plan 6 months out, get ahead of yourself and be ready to go on this. Because once it starts picking up steam, you get so caught up in the day-to-days, you got to be ready for the next one and the next one and the next one. So looking at something like on a quarterly basis, something fun you could do, collectibles. And, there's the other thing that there's this new virtual world that we're all starting to live in with NFTs. Whether it be issuing a digital collectible or a digital asset of some kind, is there something there? Could the DIA in downtown Detroit issue the limited edition NFT of a digital piece of art available, to their members exclusively? Holy cow. Could you imagine like if you got collectors out there who now have access to this, this digital item that maybe wasn't out there before? It could be a really, really neat way to lure in some great new donors too.
Well, and I think, what you're mentioning too is ways to keep it mission forward. So you're still able to continue to talk about your mission and the impact without it being, here's all the things we're doing, give us money, right? So you're bringing people in, bringing them into the mix, making them feel like they're an exclusive part of the club. Yeah. When they're getting ready to put dollars out, or you are ready to make an ask, they're primed and warmed and they've been partying along with you for the last few months.
Yeah. And even if it is something where, hey, here's where your money is going, here's what you're providing, if I'm making a donation and it's feeding 100 families that month, reminding me that, hey, you just fed another 100 families this month. That's really cool. Every month you continue to feed 100 families, and we truly appreciate everything that you're doing there. That, that to me is like, gosh, I can't stop this because I'm feeding another 100 families. What a jerk I would be if I stop this recurring transaction. Or comparing it to, and I know this is in a singular transaction. This is it's one cup of coffee or whatever. Like, hey, what you're paying for Netflix every month, we could take that and do this, or, and who knows, maybe there's ways, a great opportunity for a nonprofit to step up and to help you manage and monitor what you're doing on a monthly basis for the streaming subscriptions you have. And if we can help you save money on your streaming subscriptions. You give that money to this nonprofit or that nonprofit, or like, partnering with somebody like Ipsy, help donate the extra items that you're not using this month to us. We'll send you a box, prepaid shipping or whatever it may be. And we're going to sell those on our marketplace or list on. There's just tons of great opportunities on Discovery and Delight too.
Well, and I want to talk a little bit more about collaboration because I'm a huge fan of collaboration. I think it just helps everybody grow faster and helps us support more people. What an interesting, like if you already have a monthly donor program and let's say you already have, 500 people or you have 100 people or you have 20 people that are on your list. I feel like corporations get hit by nonprofits for the same thing all the time, like sponsor our event. You're going to get your logo on our website and we'll put you in the program and you can have a free table. Like it's the same thing over and over again. So what a unique opportunity to maybe say like, hey, we're going to put you in front of our best donors who give to us all the time. We're going to put your stuff in a box or you can give us, $1,000 that allows us to give extra perks to our donor, whatever it might be. But it creates a whole unique way for you to reach out to corporate sponsors in a win-win situation.
Oh yeah. Because you're not just giving them that typical, placard on the table, which is fine. It's great. It works. And I'm sure there's a lot of companies, that are out there happy with that, but looking at unique ways to continue to enhance and expand on that experience with something, like, hey, we're going to send out a box. It's going to include these cool things in there and we can include your item inside as well. Or helping them curate, having them help curate that experience. Mm-hmm. So, we want to put a cool notebook in here. Here's the cost to include this notebook. We'll put your logo on it if you can be part of that and help us with that. Yeah. So, finding some unique ways to do that too.
I think that's brilliant. But I'm with you on the whole plan 6 months in advance, because I think there's so many things that we do in marketing where people just kind of gunshot. Oh, this is a great idea. I'm going to go do that. Yeah, but they don't have the right plan in place. So then, 2 weeks, 6 weeks later, they're like, oh, we're burnt out on this. Right. So planning is definitely key.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And as kind of during COVID, I jumped on with a call with a local St. Jude team here in Detroit. And they were part of what they were doing was they're all brainstorming unique ways to help grow St. Jude's presence and do that. And that was one of the things that, feedback that I gave to them was, consider quarterly, but also look at, how far out you need to plan this sort of experience. And for them, St. Jude is a massive organization and there's a lot going on. They have a lot of great ways to tell stories to help share with their audience the impact that it's having. And I think, there's some fun things that you can do there with unique experiences and getting access to learn more where your donations are going, learn more how you can be more impactful and more helpful too.
Yeah. Well, and let's talk about, if, physical boxes are physical boxes, I think they're great. Everybody loves to get mail. I love to get things that aren't bills or,
oh yeah. I love not getting bills. Somehow when I became an adult,
the mail was no fun anymore.
Yeah. I like getting the mail at my office because sometimes I get checks in.
Yeah, right.
And that's kind of cool, but I don't check my wife always checks the mail at home. It's just bills.
I love it.
But I do get some fun subscription boxes too. So that's fair.
That's good. We'll have to end with what your favorite ones are. But what, it can all be like you alluded to, like digital prints or whatever. Like what are some kind of, fun online experiences that maybe you've seen some of these boxes do? And the beauty of it being digital also means it doesn't cost you per donor, right? You can mass produce one thing and push it out.
Yeah, I think you're starting to see a lot that's going to start to happen with the NFTs and digital assets. You're going to see a lot of companies start to explore that a little bit more. But then, there's a great company out there called Pinfinity. They create pins on that you can buy one off or you can subscribe to. And part of what they do is their pins have an augmented reality experience to it, where you can download an app and you can take in and explore more great content through that AR experience. And this is a company where you don't need to, you could partner with a company like Pinfinity, have them create custom pins for you, and they can build part of that AR experience. it's not for, the small, like I want to do 10, 20, 30, you need to produce 500, 1,000, 3,000, they're in the thousands production side of things. But, there could be some really neat things that you can do there. So every month, each, the donors are going to be receiving this exclusive pin that has this exclusive access and fun content and fun experiences together. There's a lot of great, my kids actually just this weekend did one for little budding artists. And you get this clay box. It's called the Clay Club. You get this box filled with clay and the various different supplies on a monthly basis. And then you can jump on one of 2 scheduled Zooms where the teacher, Mrs. Post, leads you in the creation of that month's little clay sculpture. And it's such a fun thing. They absolutely love doing it this weekend because, you didn't like there's not just a set of instructions. It was interactive. There were other kids in the class. It was a really cool experience. So finding ways to do something like that too, maybe where you ship something and then you bring the community together. Because these are all like-minded individuals, right? If everybody's supporting a cause and everybody's supporting an effort, then obviously there's some commonality there in what they're thinking, what they're feeling. So bringing that community together in some unique ways could be really fun.
Well, I'm thinking with the AR piece that you brought up, we work with a lot of organizations that are US based, but serve an international community. So let's say it's conservation and your organization is saving the rhinos. Like how incredible would it be that every month or quarter they got literally to feel like they were in the African savannah, seeing them in the wild, or taking a live tour of the school that your organization just built, like that's really cool.
Yeah. Or even, think about this. If you have so let's say you support a wildlife rescue, having access to that webcam. I know like my stepdad watches like a bald eagle webcam literally all day. I have no idea why he does it, but he absolutely loves doing it. That's important to him. And like he'll sit there and it'll be up on his screen and watch this bald eagle nest. And if that was something where they said, hey, for $1 a day or $1 a month or whatever it is, you can still have access to this stream and this feed. Like you'd probably pay it. Patreon is a great way to introduce some new revenue there. And people that are part of that's just a fun, easy way to turn something on that would create some great recurring revenue.
So I know what Patreon is, but for those that don't, could you kind of explain what that platform is?
Yeah, so Patreon is a great way for you to provide extra content and extra things as a content producer, content provider. You could provide extras and added bonuses for people on a subscription or transaction basis. So if they give to you on Patreon, then they would get bonus episodes or they would get access to different content or access to different things. It's a great turnkey way to do that.
And it started a lot with musicians, right? Every time they posted a new video, you got charged whatever you were committed. Yeah. So but yes, a fun, unique way to kind of create a subscription model without having to do a lot of back end work.
Yeah, because I think there's sometimes the intimidation factor of, gosh, we got to figure out how we're going to do this, how we're going to charge our credit cards on a monthly basis. How are we going to fulfill all this? There's so many tools out there to do all of that. And then some.
And I would challenge in the nonprofit space, pretty much every donation software that's out there right now is allowing recurring.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you're on a platform that's not, then you're on the wrong platform.
Right.
Because everybody does now. Like that's just a given.
Yeah, be very suspicious why they don't have that feature built yet. But,
I love that. Okay, so then let's say we've got an organization that is getting ready to do a quarterly box, but they're kind of scared on the fulfillment side of things. Do you have any quick or easy tips? I know this is getting a little bit more tactical, but do you have any quick or easy tips for ways that organizations can get over that hump of like, well, we don't want to have volunteers that are going to do like, there's a whole wide range of like, you guys do it yourself versus fulfillment companies, but what options are kind of out there for folks that kind of want to do a box?
Yeah. And so there's a lot of great ways that can be done. And certainly, and I'm okay, more than fine with the tactical stuff because I've been through it all. When we launched Gentleman's Box, we were originally filling out of John's house. And then we moved to a warehouse and we're doing it ourselves. And I have video of my, at the time, I think they were 6-year-old daughters, my twins filling Gentleman's Boxes. And then, we grew and sent part of it offsite to offsite fulfillment for a while. and then eventually brought it back in-house, but kind of did a 50-50, like a hybrid approach where some of it was fulfilled offsite. There's so many great resources out there. What you'll find now, a lot of like the printing, packaging, companies will also do fulfillment for you. There's some great ones around Detroit here. There's some great ones that are SUBTA partners. So anybody can jump on the SUBTA website, and there's a great list of fulfillment partners out there. And they don't, what you'll find too, is if you're creating a physical product and shipping it out, oftentimes you can have it fulfilled and shipped for less than what you'd be able to ship it yourself. Mm-hmm. And that's because they're getting such good volume discounts on their side in the fulfillment that they can pass along those discounts to you, and they'll still charge you for the fulfillment, but you're still paying less at the end of the day. Yeah. And taking all that stress and worry off of your plate.
Yeah. And that's a good point. And I think something to think about is, and we've kind of alluded to it a few times already, but the things that stop nonprofits from doing things like this or doing things outside the box, and same with online events and things like that, is kind of the fear of the unknown. Yeah. And just the whole traditional, this is how fundraising is typically done. And this is kind of a step outside of that. So what would you say, we might have somebody who's listening to this and they're really gung ho. They go to their leadership and their leadership is like, you want us to do what?
Yeah.
Like that's weird. We don't do things that way. What might you say to those leadership teams?
So obviously the planning, right? We've talked about earlier, the planning and getting ahead of it and saying, okay, I'd like to do this. I've mapped out the first year of it. Here's what it looks like. Here's the costs involved with it. And putting that together. But then the other thing to consider is make it limited edition. You don't need to stress yourself out, because this is the biggest challenge that sometimes these subscription companies get into, especially as they're growing and scaling. You start to, let's say you project your first monthly subscriber run that you're going to get, or quarterly, is going to be 100 people. Oftentimes pretty achievable. You get it out to your donor base, they buy into it. You look at your growth trajectory, you're like, okay, well, next month we'll plan for 250. And the month after that, we'll plan for 500 and 1,000. And what happens sometimes is you don't hit those numbers. So then you're sitting on this excess inventory, these excess products or these excess items, and you're kind of building yourself into a little bit of a corner and a challenge. So as leadership, I might be afraid of that, right? Mm-hmm. And so one of the things to think about is by making it exclusive and saying, we're going to cap it. We're going to cap it at 100. We're going to cap it at 500. And if we find that there's enough demand out there, we see that the tension for enough demand, we can be a little bit of elastic with it and then start to expand that. If we find we have, let's say we limit it to 500 and we have 500 people on our wait list, let's make it 600 next month. So we know we're going to see 20% of those convert and come through, and we're going to get those 600 subscribers. Then we're not sitting on excess inventory. We're not carrying those costs on our balance sheet, and we're helping make that something that's continuing to support what we're doing and what we're growing. So looking at a model like that, and because of that, more people are likely to be interested because they can't get in.
I was just going to say that. I mean, you're a marketer, so maybe touch a little bit about the like when you can launch to your donors to get them to come into the program. That exclusivity and that time sensitivity is often what will push more people over the edge that might have waffled for a period of time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, Coca-Cola has an insiders club, and granted, it's Coke, right? So they have tons of people that want these things, and they create collectibles and things like that. But it doesn't mean people aren't as passionate about what you're doing in your organization. Mm-hmm. And, it just wouldn't be the size and scale of what Coke has. But they've created this insiders club that has been so wildly popular. It's impossible to get on. I was on the wait list. I got an email at like 10 o'clock in the morning. I was in some meetings. I missed it. I finally saw the email at 2 o'clock, and it was already, my access was too late. I couldn't get into it. I was like,
what are they giving people?
What they were doing was something that was unique collectibles on a monthly basis, and then trying out new flavors that you could only get through the Coca-Cola Insiders Club.
That's cool.
Really cool. Yeah. What a great way to create some, brand marriage there that,
and market research for almost for free, or even to make money to cover the cost of your new. That's brilliant.
Your market. And that's, you talk about that market research component, and that's, I think very first start of our conversation, we're talking about that relationship you create with your subscribers and learning more about what they're interested in, what they're looking for. Snack Nation is a great, and they're now called Carew. They used to supply, pre-COVID, they would supply snacks for offices. Obviously, COVID changed offices a lot, and now they supply employee care products where you can ship a box to your employees, has all sorts of fun stuff on a monthly basis. They were as much a data company as they were a snack company, because what they were doing is they were asking for feedback on those snacks. They were taking that data and they were sharing it with the snack providers. So, the snack provider that makes a nut mix, they're saying there weren't enough M&Ms in here. That was our common feedback. Now they knew if they added more M&Ms, people would be more satisfied with the product and they love it more. And maybe there's ways with the subscription that you're creating as a nonprofit to find those things out. Hey, we had 4 hours of the elephant refuge this week, and we had 6 hours of the tiger refuge. What'd you think? Well, the tiger refuge is, people like that a lot more. It's more popular. Who knows, right? Probably a bad example, but there could be, some fun things out there that you could do with it, that you could learn what people are really seeking in the relationship with them.
Yeah. I mean, I think when we look at like a lot of organizations are adding an e-com element as like just an additional revenue stream, right? Mm-hmm. So they're giving away, or they're selling swag, or they're working in countries where they have, the population that they're supporting, creating, like selling their wares and things so that they can continue to send money directly back to those communities. So I think there's definitely a way that you can test the products that you're pushing out to see what resonates more or less with your audience. And again, like you said, with Coke, giving them that exclusivity. Hello. We have an organization we work with where that's one of the perks for their subscription model is every time they introduce new swag, they get access to it first at a discount. So that helps them see kind of what types of things are going to move a little bit faster before they kind of place those bigger orders.
Right. And it's not, as a nonprofit, you're not going to find that, gosh, people didn't like the fact that we gave, coats away this winter. It's not going to change the mission of your nonprofit and what you're doing. But what you might be able to learn is what messaging maybe resonates a little bit more with your audience. Mm-hmm. Are there special things that, are there one-off things that you're doing that find a little bit better and could add to your mission and what you're doing in there and enhance it. So just, some great ways to look at the various different data points and help enhance that mission.
Yeah. So there's one more thing I want to bring up before we kind of wrap this up, but that is in that, Amazon is kind of the monster of the subscription world, I think, in some regards, like they have so many ways you can do it, right? Like they have Prime, they have, like you said, you can have certain products. We just bought cleaner for my daughter's rat cage. Yes, we have rats that are.
Oh, that's fun.
Is it? And they're road tripping with us for the next 3 months, which is a whole nother experience. But so we just bought rat cleaner for the cage, and it automatically set it to buy monthly. Like I had to click off of that in order to just get it one time, and then, they're just really good at sending kind of these automated things about what you might want to purchase and all of that good stuff. And obviously Amazon is Amazon and they're extreme. But as you kind of look at that as a model, like how do you feel like that just continues to kind of make that addict? Like you always go to Amazon now.
I know, right? And we were talking about this morning we have a product that we support and I've invested in, and it's amazing. We put it out on a TV station and you can order directly through that TV station, but we're seeing more orders coming through Amazon because people's credit card and shipping information. I mean, we all have that habit. I often remark that Amazon is one company that I think is not charging me enough money. Mm-hmm. And I'm always hoping that they're not listening to me say this. Because,
they are listening.
Right? Always. Because I feel like I get so much value for what I'm paying on an annual basis to just their overall Prime subscription. I mean, take out subscribe and save and everything. I'm getting the Prime TV. I'm getting the shipping, the free shipping on everything. I'm getting access to other stuff. So that in itself, they've done a really good thing there where they've built this model where they provide so much value. I'd be an idiot to cancel it. Mm-hmm. So that's one thing. The flip side of this too, the other thing that Amazon does is they use all the data, your purchasing habits, everything to their advantage. They see that every 3 months I'm buying AA batteries because my kids leave the toys on all the time. Yes. And every single thing. And they don't shut off the remote control car and, whatever it may be, but they know my purchase habits. And so probably why that, default subscribe and save is clicked off. And they know that because it's already checked off, I'm going to look at it and be like, I might as well subscribe to batteries. I'm here anyway. Chewy's really good about that. Chewy did a very same thing, followed a very similar example. They saw, the dog food and the bully sticks that we were getting for our puppy were, and they're coming on that frequency. And so they make that suggestion. And so, as an organization, understanding and looking at the data that you have, and if you see people are donating to you 4 times a year, maybe there's a great way to introduce a quarterly donor program that somebody's going to look at and say, well, I guess, it makes sense. Oh, and I'm getting this extra thing I wouldn't have got before for something I was already doing anyway. Why not?
Yeah, it's so easy. And then you don't have to follow up with them every quarter because they're just already giving to you at that point.
Right. And so we have this love-hate relationship with Amazon. I think everybody does because they are the 800-pound gorilla. They are so big. They wield that power. It is challenging, and full disclosure, they're a SUBTA partner. We love them, but like on the flip side of this, I've had some very challenging conversations with different parts of Amazon. They're just so massive, but they're doing something right. They're so big and they've had so much success. Obviously, there are some great cues to take from them, and so take the good ones. Don't take the bad ones.
So I like what you're saying about, your data is only as good as the information that you collect. Right. So making sure that you're capturing as much information about your donors as possible so that in the future you can utilize that for more thoughtful conversations. So I think switching our brains from like, it's creepy to collect this information to be like, it's actually more important for us to collect that information so that we can have better conversations with our donors and we're not spamming them with stuff that they either don't care about or is going to turn them off of our organization. And that's what the data allows you to do.
Yeah. And that's the advantage of subscription. We're not trying to be creepy. We're you're creating better relationships with these companies.
Yeah, absolutely.
The individuals, I mean.
Yeah. Anything else about subscription models that you think, should be brought up that I wouldn't even think to ask about?
I think we touched base on a lot. I think looking at, what other companies are doing out there, especially the most successful companies, certainly is always a good indicator. And there's so many great subscription companies out there. The one thing I'd love to share with your audience is we do, as SUBTA, our goal is to support the community. We have a free membership, so anybody can join, get in, and be part of the conversation and learn from others at no cost. We have a paid membership that's only $9 a month, so people can get in and even for a low price, come in and join and learn and grow. And that's always been our mission. So anybody we can help out there, they can always jump on subta.com. That's SUBTA.com and join for free and start to learn. Or if they're looking for additional resources, they can email us at letstalk@subta.com. And our team's so awesome. I'm so proud of them. And we're always happy to help, and lots of great YouTube content, all sorts of fun stuff out there. So, any other, we do this show called Subscription Review where we break down the components of a subscription business. And, we know even if you may not have that type of subscription component to your business, you might pick up something that you can take and apply over there. There's always something new. There's always, we were so surprised by Vinyl Me Please when we did that subscription review last week. And there's always just some fun new things out there.
Yeah, I love that. And we'll link all of those up in the show notes so you can check those out easily. And I always encourage, when we're working with new clients or in our community, to start their brainstorm by like literally looking at all of the subscriptions that they love and the experiences that they've gotten from that and what has jumped out for them, and really just brain dump a lot of that stuff before they even think about theirs, so that they can kind of reframe the way that they're processing what we're offering to donors in our community.
Yeah. And there's 2 great sites out there that will point to a lot of the subscription companies. There's one called CrateJoy.
Yep.
Has a lot of great, a big marketplace for subscriptions. And then another site called mysubscriptionaddiction.com, a huge review site of subscriptions. So if you're looking for inspiration, looking for other ideas, checking out those 2 sites can really kind of point you in the right direction.
That's so good. Okay. So as we wrap this up, because you've kind of told us where to find a bunch of information about you guys, which I love, what are some of your favorites? And I probably shouldn't ask you this because but what are some of your favorites that are kind of doing some cool things out in the marketplace right now for people to check out? Yeah.
So it's like an endless list of, subscriptions out there, obviously. And there's, like I told you about, my kids this weekend loved the little budding artist. There's, Bitsbox that is a really fun way.
Oh, we've had that.
Yeah, it's so
Coding?
cool. And yeah, there's all different ages that you can have Bitsbox for.
Mm-hmm.
Another great one, I did a live video cast the other day. It was called Parenting EQ. Parenting EQ is a monthly subscription. It's a quarterly. I think there's this quarterly subscription box that will help improve your kids' emotional intelligence and your emotional intelligence around your children that much better, especially during COVID.
I was going to say, don't we all need that right now?
Oh my gosh. I was obsessing. I felt like I was like this, rabid, musician fan over their product the other day because it's just so needed. Like that earlier that day, my daughters were screaming about something. I don't know what. My son lost his crap on something else. And I was like, am I doing this right? Am I parenting correctly? That box does that. It helps you create meaningful conversations with your kids that are helpful and productive. That's a really cool one.
That's
Carnivore
so cool.
Club ships you meats and cheeses on a monthly basis. Really cool stuff there. Hint water is delicious water. I mean, it's just, honest to gosh, it's just endless.
Yeah.
And the cool stuff out there. So
that's so cool.
Yeah. The my subscription addiction is a lot of great ones to find.
Yeah. Well, we recently sold our house and moved. And until we moved, did we not realize how many things we had to cancel and change our address on? So maybe if you're like, I don't belong to anything, think about if you sold your house and you were moving to a new house, how many things you would have to cancel and transfer, and you'll realize how many subscriptions you actually have. So definitely something that's permeated our culture and not going anywhere anytime soon.
No, I don't think so. And the other thing, as you're looking towards your new house, there's a cool subscription called Deco Crated, which is they send you quarterly box full of awesome seasonal decorations for your house, and it's like Crate and Barrel in a box. It's so cool.
Oh my goodness!
It's a very fun one.
My husband's not going to appreciate you for that one.
Yeah, absolutely. I know, right? I apologize.
It's all good. Well, I appreciate it so much. Thank you, Paul, for joining me today. And head on over to thefirstclick.net/podcast. We'll link up all of these wonderful things. But thank you so much for joining me.
Oh my gosh, Sammy, thanks so much for having me. It was a lot of fun chatting with you. And, anytime we can help, truly, anybody out there, please reach out to us. We're happy to help.
Okay, guys, how incredible was that? Another big thank you to Paul for joining me on this episode. So much fun. We probably could have continued talking for a really long time. But here, when we stopped talking on the podcast, he offered out a great opportunity for you guys that are wanting to dive deeper into the subscription model and get more engaged. So the Sub Summit 21 conference is a in-person and a virtual option, and Paul is giving you guys $50 off your ticket if you use the code TheFirstClick. So you want to go to subsummit.com/tickets. They have in-person and virtual options. It's taking place in Houston, Texas, in September. But take a look and see if that's something that is going to be of interest to you. You'll get, information on all of the things, subscription boxes, and ways to get involved in that industry and ways that it might be able to support you. Now, it's not just for nonprofits, but I think you'll glean a lot of great information. So I'm really excited. So again, head to subsummit.com/tickets and enter the code TheFirstClick to get $50 off your in-person or virtual tickets, which is an amazing, amazing offer. Now, all of this will be linked up in thefirstclick.net/podcast in the show notes. So I hope that you'll check them out. And make sure you subscribe wherever you listen so you don't miss out on a single episode. I really appreciate you guys listening, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next one.